When she's at the park with her grandchildren, Angela Gomez doesn't worry about cancer, but it's often on her mind. Her mother had cancer.
My mom had stage 4 breast cancer, and she died in her 40s, and I was very devastated. So I don't want that to happen to me.
Angie knew she could start mammograms early, and she was diligent in getting her yearly exam beginning at age 30. But she felt that wasn't enough.
I get my mammogram once a year, but I still get very anxious. I worry about, because of the fact that I have cancer in my family. Not only did my mother have breast cancer, but also my sister had ovarian cancer, and one of my brothers had prostate cancer. When I told my doctor about this, she suggested that I see a specialist, a genetic counselor.
Good morning, Angela. It's so good to see you. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing fairly well.
Good. I'm so glad to hear that. So, as you know, in some families there's a cancer genetic link where we can see certain patterns of cancer in a family. For example, if someone is diagnosed with breast cancer earlier than age 45, or anytime we see anyone diagnosed with ovarian cancer, that makes us more suspicious. So we want to talk about genetic testing, like what we see with your family.
I learned from the genetic counselor that I have a higher risk of a genetic mutation. I needed to take a test to see what my risk was for cancer.
I felt that Angela would be a good candidate for genetic testing because of her family history.
The turning point for me was that I want to be there for my family, my children, my grandchildren. I want to have time with them when it comes to activities, playing outside, the holidays, spending time with them. So that was what made me want to take this test.
I'm going to have you spit saliva in this tube. Okay.
Angie chose to do a simple saliva test.
So just spit in here?
Just spit into the tube. That's good. That should be exactly what we need.
Okay, great.
Angie's results came back 2 weeks later.
Angela's test results show that she has a genetic mutation in a gene, the BRCA1 gene or a BRCA gene. And this tells us that she has a higher chance to get breast cancer, maybe as high as 65%. It also tells us that she has an increased risk to get ovarian cancer, maybe as high as 40%. And we know that in other women and men, there can be an increased risk for other types of cancers too.
Options to manage risk include, at age 25, start yearly breast MRI. At age 30, add yearly mammograms. At age 35 to 40, consider surgery to remove ovaries and fallopian tubes, or after childbearing. Other options to manage breast cancer risk include tamoxifen, if indicated after evaluation by your physician, or consider bilateral mastectomy surgery, if recommended by your physician.
Well, after speaking to the genetic counselor and doctor, I decided to do the increased screening. It was a tough decision, but it was the right one for me. It means that I'm going to need to have an MRI and a mammogram every year. But that's okay, because it gives me peace of mind to know that I'm doing everything I can to detect breast cancer as early as possible. So I'm very glad that I did it. Not just for myself, but for my family too. It allows me to feel the freedom of knowing that I've done everything I can to have control over my life, and it empowers my family to do the same thing.